Welcome everybody. Finally, I got this thing fired up and working finally. My link was not working tonight for some reason. Um, but yeah, tonight we got something special in store for you. If you guys seen in the Telegram chat, we're gonna be interviewing our top winner for the Game Over giveaway tonight, which is Joe Jaquint. Let's see if we can get Joe's on here. Raise your hand, Joe, so I can find you. Oh, there you are. There we go. Hey, Joe, can you hear me all right? You there?
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Awesome.
How are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Coming off another good week. We've had some exciting chatter in the chat about the Game Over giveaway and all these cars. And are you going to tell everybody what you picked, or are you going to keep it a secret?
No, I actually bought one a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, a Rolls
Yeah.
Royce Cullinan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it is it's out of this world amazing.
yep. Seen one at the office, seen the one at the office, it's nice. I can't fault you at all for choosing the Rolls Royce.
Well,
To
yeah,
be honest.
I'm not a very good driver, and the sports cars and me, like I, I'll I'll die or crash it. I needed something that had a little more size to it.
Yeah, yeah, I don't blame you. Especially with I don't know how Phoenix is, but with the construction work around Dallas, it's gonna be rough driving these sports cars, although that sit, a half an inch off the ground. There's some I don't know about Phoenix, but Dallas, man, it's gonna be rough driving some of them around.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think I'll
Phoenix and
probably be able
Dallas
to
are,
figure it out.
yeah, they're pretty much probably the same. Just getting in and out of my driveway would have been challenging with some of those low profile cars.
Yeah, yeah. But no, what I wanted to do is, just kind of pick your brain a little bit and try to find out what you're doing to have all this success
Yeah.
and what's keeping you at the top. Because not only for the contest you won the car, but I mean week in, week out, you're doing, great. You're on the top recruiters list. You're always competing for minor of the week. If anybody doesn't know, Joe has a radio show, and so I know you cast a very broad net. A lot of us on this call and everything don't have a radio show, but there's more. There's got to be more to it than just talking about this in the radio, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you're getting tons of phone calls. You got to handle these people on the phone, and that's what I really want to get into is that secret sauce or that secret formula you've got with that phone game, because I think a lot of people in our community will benefit from that. I mean, it's people aren't just calling you and throwing money at you. I'm sure you got to
No.
do a little bit of work. And
I
so,
I, I really think, Gage, the biggest thing when it comes to this, because I think I'm probably a lot like a lot of people on this call. Yeah, did I know what Bitcoin was? Yep. Had I ever really done anything in crypto? No. Do I really totally understand? Hooking up servers and putting them in the oil and doing some crazy formulas and getting a block and some rewards? Not really. Um, but when I joined in May, and I will tell you, Telegram has been one of the best places to come and learn. Because I'll tell everybody out there, you want the secret sauce, you have to embrace what all the negative people are saying, because that is going to be the reason why it is that people don't want to do it. It's one thing, you talk to somebody and you probably say the same thing I just said. Well, I don't really know a whole lot about crypto, but I heard about this. And so we're already starting out at a little bit of a disadvantage. And when you go online, the internet, it's a great thing. It's and a bad thing all at once. It's got everything out there, whether it's true or not true, it doesn't matter. What you have to do, and what everyone, at least what I do, I don't, you don't have to, but what I've done is I've taken all of the negative stuff, and I like to tell people before, when we're talking about, hey, do you want to sign up for Texit? Do you want to take this chance at a second chance at Bitcoin? I bring all of this stuff up first because I don't want them to walk away and then see it on their own, because I feel like that means you're either don't know what's out there or you're trying to hide what was out there. And I tend to lead with that stuff. I think that is the best message, because when you look at everything else that Bobby has put together, the transparency, the fact that the big banks aren't invited to play. It's only mined in Texas. There's a lot of great things. We're going to have the biggest independently owned mine in the world. All that sounds wonderful, but I really think that's, at least for me, that has been the success of what we do, and what my team has done is we embrace the negative, and we really just have the answer to, hey, you're going to see this, but let me tell you why it's not accurate. You're going to see that. Let me tell you why it's not accurate. And that way,
So
when they dig in on their own, they're like, wow, yeah, God, I did see all that stuff. But it gives them a sense, I think anyway, of confidence that your product.
Right. So you really hit is it a scam right up front, really, before you dig in and get into the nuts and bolts about Texit Coin. You're already bringing up that you're going to find, hey, it's a scam, there's this and that online, blah blah blah. You're kind of really bringing that out in the upfront then.
Yep. I got 5 things that I like to do, and I wrote a list down, and I think that's really I guess I'm kind of big on that. I like to write stuff down so I don't forget, because every conversation's different,
Yep.
and people, they may ask a question that wasn't on the list, but you get sidetracked. I want to make sure that we cover them all, from it's a pyramid, it's a pump and dump, a rug pull, it's a Ponzi scheme, right? All of those things you want to have that understanding of your product and what's out there, and explain to the people. And of course, some of it's pretty easy, right? Hey, yeah, go look at the guy that posted that. He's got 4 followers, right?
Yep.
They just post stuff to post stuff. And the other big thing, I do like to say this because I think this helps too. By the way, while you're looking, find me anywhere somebody that's actually joined Texit and is on the internet complaining about it being a scam, a rug pull, you can't find it because it doesn't exist. And I think that's kind of another really good quiver to have, which is, hey, not only go out there and look, and let me tell you the negative that's out there, but I challenge you to actually find somebody who says, I'm part of Texit, and oh, by the way, it sucks, and this didn't happen, and I didn't get this, and they're full of that, because that's a big testament when you really think about, what are we, Gaige? Is it week 81, 82, something like that? I mean, we're over a year and a half into this, and you're telling me not one person out of 38,000 miners has going online and writing the bad reviews about the easiest thing to do.
Absolutely. It's going to be hard to find anybody unhappy on this rocket ship, I think. Give us what was that 1 to 5 list that you said? Give us that one more time.
Yeah. So we do. I start with the pyramid scheme. Then we go to the whole MLM, right? That you got to address that, because all of us, we've had experiences with MLMs. Everybody has, and they're usually all the same, right? Which is you pay
Yep.
money every month, and only the guys at the top make the money. And explaining the difference to this, the rug pull, the pump and dump, and of course, I left my notes at my office, so I was totally prepared. And then the last one having to do with, hey, this isn't new, right? So when you get into what I'll call the guys that actually do crypto or maybe have gotten into crypto, all of their arguments are the same. Where's your white paper? Who's your programmers? And what's your utility gonna be? What problem are you solving? And you got to know these answers, and I didn't know them when I first started. But if you pay attention to calls like this and Bobby, and you start putting this together, the reason why we don't have a white paper, the reason why we don't, hey, these are all our programmers, and oh, by the way, here's our utility and here's our plan. We didn't have to borrow any money. People really got to understand, why do all these crypto companies have all this stuff? Because they borrowed the money, and as part of borrowing the money, this is what the banks and the hedge funds want to see. It's actually a huge positive for at least the people that I associate with and listen to the show that I do on the radio. The less big money, the better, right? Keeping the banks
Yep.
out of it, keeping the hedge funds out of it. So you just have to have that stuff, that knowledge ready. And like I said, I like to produce it first and then challenge them. Find me a bad comment about an actual miner. There should be plenty of them out there, because we got 38,000 people, and that tends to ease, I think, some people's angst. No, it's not perfect, right? Some people just are going to say no matter what. But I like to be as upfront and honest as possible right from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me, on the white paper, when somebody
Yeah.
says, let's talk about the crypto, bros, because I think a lot of people run into some crypto people, and if they don't know crypto, then they may have some issues handling
Yeah.
those. Tell me
Yeah.
how do you answer that when somebody says, well, where's the white paper, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you have a white paper?
Yeah.
What do you respond to that?
And I really just go to, why do you have a white paper? And
Yeah.
what's funny is they kind of look at it because they don't really know the answer. They know that, well, I guess you're supposed to have you have a white paper because you need to borrow money from somebody, and you tell them in your white paper, hey, here's the outline of this crypto that we've created, and by the way, here's the program, here's how much the mine's going to produce every day, and this is the utility, this is the problem we're trying to solve, and this is why we think it's going to be great. That all sounds wonderful. And I tend to tell everybody that asks that question, I go, we don't have anything new. I go, we're a fork of Litecoin, a clone of Litecoin. I go, the reason why I think Bobby picked Litecoin is because it is faster, cheaper, much faster than Bitcoin, and we're trying to be the money, right?
Right.
And
Right.
a lot of people out there will say, well, yeah, this is why you're not going to win. What you have is already out there, and why would they use Texit instead of Litecoin as an example, right?
Sure.
And this is, guys, I think this is the most powerful part about it. Look at Litecoin's been out there for a long, Bitcoin's been out there for even longer.
Yeah.
Yet find people.
I think one of the best points you bring up too is we have no debt, right? We
That's
are
huge.
not taking on debt. We are not accumulating debt. We are not using any debt, right? We are crowdfunding this, with everybody, being involved and everything. And that's that you're right. I mean, that's one of the biggest things is, we don't need a white paper.
Right.
We've just copied what was out there, and we're not taking any debt from these mega banks
Right.
or institutions
Right.
and stuff like that, right?
That's one of the answers to why is it not a Ponzi scheme? Because a Ponzi
Absolutely.
means you borrowed money from somebody else, right?
Yep.
And then you paid them back with the next guy you borrowed money from. We're not borrowing any money from anybody. Matter of fact, that should be shouted out to the rooftops. I mean, we've raised almost $90 million now. It's absolutely amazing. But I think one of the biggest things I hear from the guys that are in crypto, well, it's already been invented, right? It's all
Right.
that problem's been solved. And
Right.
I'm like, it isn't solved if no one knows how to use it, right? That's the biggest thing. Yeah, hey, I got the technology to go to Mars, but if no one ever uses it, what good is it, right? It's not any good. And I think that's the biggest thing that Bobby brings to the table for us, and why I am so confident on layer two is showing people why it is that they want to use crypto, why it's so much better. And you got to make it easy. That's the thing, right? Everyone thinks crypto is very complicated. I'm a business owner. I've been in business for 25 years, and I did not start taking crypto until 6 weeks ago, after I got involved in Texit. And guess what? I can take Texit. I can take
Yep.
USDC, USDT, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Right? I can take all of this stuff, but I didn't know how. Right? No one is out there showing people how to use it, and I think that is going to be the biggest win. And yes, I do have a big following. I've got customers all over the country. I can't even tell you, I'm in Arizona, and I've got at least, I don't know, 40, 50 people in Texas in my downline. One of them happens to be a mayor in one of the towns in Texas. And he actually called me and said, Joe, what's this here? I'm hearing about layer two, and I did not know he was a mayor. He was just a customer. Come to find out, he's like, and I just explained to him what I had heard Bobby talk about on the Zoom calls about being able to use crypto and to use Texit, save, not only not pay credit and debit card fees, but earn interest while the money hasn't been used, and then making it easy for people to use it. And everyone's doing everything with their phones nowadays anyway. And he literally was like, I want in. How do I get my town in? And this is, I think, when
Yep.
Bobby talks about, hey, we've gotten 100, 200, 300 guys, that's true. And I can say that for me personally, because one of my customers happens to be the mayor of the town, and and believe me, I can't explain it nearly as good as Bobby or Rob or even Gaige, and they're all over it.
Yeah. Well, real quick. So we got some questions here in the chat,
Okay.
right? I want to go back you're hitting the nail on the head, right? I learned a phrase, Chris Beck told me a while back, the best thing about Texit Coin is you can earn while you learn, right? The whole
Right.
point of Texit Coin is to show people how to use crypto and the benefits of using crypto, right? And so I use that phrase a lot in my pitches. You can earn while you learn. And some people are asking, why was it better than Litecoin? Why this or that? And what do we bring to the table? Well, what we really bring to the table that supersedes all the other cryptos out there. One, we have a couple changes where our network and infrastructure is geographically limited in the state of Texas, right? Secured in Texas. But also we bring leadership to the table, right? Like nobody's out there walking down the street buying a cup of coffee with Litecoin, nor does anybody have plans to, right? We have the leadership. We have Bobby Gray. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm gonna need a minute. Thank you. But yeah, we bring leadership to the table and a mission, right? An honest mission of bringing honest money to the world and to the people, right, of decentralized finance. So, I think like you said it best, we didn't change anything, we didn't invent anything new or anything like that, right? We're just the guys picking up where Bitcoin left off, right? Um, and so to answer Jerry's question, why are we better than Litecoin? We bring real leadership to the table, right? And we're teaching people not only how to get into crypto, but how to use it. And I don't know if anybody's seen the video I posted in Telegram on Saturday night, Sunday morning, but I took a deal on a hot tub. I made a deal on a hot tub where we actually took Texit Coin for payment. That was absolutely awesome. And that was a large payment. That was a large sum of money. It was one of my most expensive models. And so, the owner, he loves it. He loves Texit Coin. And it was immediate. We had the money immediately. We were able to monetize that money immediately and move it right into our bank account. Just like anything else, quicker than actually a credit card, because a credit card would have taken 2, 3, 4 days, right, for everything to go through before that gets deposited. And so, tell us how it's helped you in your business.
Well, it's funny today, and granted, I will say this: it was a big day, but we took almost 35,000 Texit Coin, and the coin was what, about $4, $4 ish all day today. 35,000 Texit Coin. It is something where it is simple. It is fast and becoming faster. And like Gaige said, so as a business owner, and any business owner out there can relate to this. If you come into my physical office and I run it through my credit card machine for me, I won't get paid till the next day. If you go through my store, my online store, right now, I don't get paid for 2 days. While they sit around and hold the money, collect the interest. This is instant, and I didn't have to pay 4%. And all of these credit, and any business owners out there listening, you guys can relate. All these points are great, right? Cash back for this and cash back for that, and airline miles and this mile and that mile. All of that means is the business owners pay. The more rewards you get, the higher the fee is, and most of these cards now are over 3%, approaching 4%. On top of, you have to wait to get the money.
Yep. And it's a big deal to the merchants, and a lot of times most merchants or business owners, they end up passing that cost on to the customers, right, or at least try to.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, you have to. And that's one thing, like when we get into the phase 2, that I'm really excited to see what happens is, we're really focusing on the local businesses, the mom and pop shops, stuff like that, to where if they can be 3 to 4, 5% cheaper on things, that may give them a bigger edge over the mainstream Amazons of the world, Walmarts of the world, more competitive in business, right? And I think that's what a lot of business owners need to realize too, is they're going to have a good opportunity to save a lot of money and then be at a more competitive rates, going forward with using Texit Coin or our downtown digital dollar stable coin, whatever that is, whatever that looks like in phase 2. But it could give local businesses a substantial advantage over the Walmarts of the world and stuff like that, too.
And that's our advantage over Litecoin. To that guy's question, is we're going to actually show them how and why it's better, and come up with something that is simple and easy to use, that's fast, and even for businesses. I'll tell you right now, most business owners, if you could sit there and say, okay, how much of your business is debit and credit cards, and the answer, almost universally is greater than 50% of my business is debit and credit cards.
Absolutely.
You're sitting there and you're talking about, well, if we could take 50% of your business and add 3% profit to your total sales, would that change your business? And every business owner would be like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? I can add 3% to my bottom line and I didn't do anything different, right? I didn't have to spend money. I didn't have to advertise. I didn't have to do this or that, just by simply giving an alternative to debit and credit cards. And that's the kind of power that Litecoin could have brought, but didn't, right? They got, they created it, but that was the easy part. The hard part is going out and showing the world how to use it. And that's what Bobby intends to do. And that's his wheelhouse. And I think that is, at least for me, because I'll just say this Wednesday, we have another big meeting with my group. And this meeting is everybody needs to monetize their Texit Coin if they already haven't done so. Getting on Bionomy, getting on Dex Trade, and actually selling. And I told them, I don't care if you sell 5 coins, 500 coins,
Right.
or buy 5 coins or 500 coins. I want them to prove to themselves, A, it's real, and B, hey, once someone showed me how to do it, you know what? That wasn't that hard. I may need a little help, but oh gosh, once I've done it 2 or 3 times, it's like anything else. Oh my gosh, it wasn't that hard. And this is exactly what the business community is going to say when they start taking it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think coming up in the next week or so, I'm gonna try to show people how to. I'm gonna do an onboarding class with this call, just because everybody knows, like, when Tim's ACH website went down, everybody started panicking because they didn't quite know and understand how to send USDC maybe through the back office and stuff. And so I think it would be, maybe next week or the week after, a good time to show people actually how to use this stuff. Because I know we've gotten, I mean, we've had some tremendous growth over just the last month, right? The last 30 days, I think we went from 16,000 miners. Now we're at 38 in just the last 4 to 6 weeks or whatever. And so, we've had some tremendous growth, and we have a lot of people out there that, once they see on how easy it is to really use it, and then, like you said, on how to monetize it, that's exactly what I'm doing is next week as well. Once I finally make it back home, I've got meetings set up that's the primary focus, is to show people how to get up on Dex Trade or Bionomy or any of these exchanges, because once you do one, you can do them all, and how easy it is to actually monetize this text, because it is simple. Once you, like you said, once you do it once or twice, it's very, very simple. It's just different, right? It's just new.
Right.
And I think a lot of people have issues with stuff that's new and it's scary. And, you do have to be a little bit careful with crypto, right? It's in the palm of your hands. So if you make a little mistake or something, it can be bad. But once you know how to take those precautions and double check things, it is very, very simple.
Yeah. I'll say this, start small. Always do a test.
Yep.
Especially if you're going to do something big, even if you've done it 100 times, it never hurts. Hey, let me just send you a quick $100.
Yep. Double check the addresses,
right?
Double check the network before you hit send, and you'll be good.
And you'll be good to go. And it really is. It's true. I remember, like I said, I was barely a little over miner 3,000 in May. It was 50 cents in May. And fast forward to today, I mean, in the last 6 weeks, we've made a very concerted effort to start using Texit Coin, and it's amazing. The first time someone tried to pay for something in Texit Coin, we were scared, we were nervous. Gosh, are we going to do it right? And now no one bats an eye. Today, like I said, 35,000 Texit Coin, we didn't bat an eye. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, great. We'll have that in our account tonight. How great is that?
That's Joe, I did the math. At $80 a coin, you just had a $2.8 million day today.
Right. You know, and I will say this too. That's the other part. Yes, you guys, don't be afraid to think big, and it can happen. It is happening. It's going to happen. You cannot tell me that raising $1 billion privately, having $100 million worth of liquidity, being one of the largest, I guess, winners of Doge and Litecoin day in and day out, that is a incredible statement for any crypto to have. And the fact that we're also going to start launching phase two. This is something where I think for a lot of my listeners, and I always tell them, this is going to happen, and you deserve it. And a lot of people, that's one of the negatives too, right? Oh, it's too good to be true. This can't be, right?
Yep.
And that's another one you have to combat. And that one's, I think, for me, that's the hardest one. It really is, because they still, they know I gave them the answers to all the negative stuff online, but it's still in their head, and they're still waiting. Right, for
now they're
that shoe
thinking,
to
wait a
drop.
minute. It's too good to be true, right? It's too
Right.
good to be true. How do you cover that one?
Yeah, and I really tell the easiest way I say it is, hey, if you can't afford the $1,000, I get it. But let's just say it is. Let's just say I'm full of it. What did it cost you? $995. For a lot of people, that's a lot of money, but for a lot of other people, it really isn't, right? I've lost $1,000 at the craps table, or I took my wife out to the real fancy dinner and got the bottle of Dom, and got the room at the nice at the Princess and all this stuff, right?
Yep.
And see for yourself. And one of the things for me, and I've been in it for a while, I guess May's a while, right? I've been in it for a while. It is incredible how many of my customers have upgraded their seats, whether they started with 1 seat, 3 seats, 5 seats, maybe they started with the 9 seats. I would have to say, I think 75% of the people that had signed up in the first 60 days have upgraded at least once. A lot of them have upgraded more than one time, which I think is a real testament to what the excitement they see with Texit, because you deliver when Bobby says you're going to get coins every night. You get them every night.
Yep.
Sometimes there's a little hiccup, but not very often, and it's usually corrected pretty quickly. But you get them every night. Plus the fact, like, what? Tell me a crypto that has a call like this. Tell me one.
Right.
There
Right.
isn't one. It doesn't exist, guys. I think this is the biggest thing. This is, I think, what's the smartest thing about using Litecoin, the clone of Litecoin, because we already have something we know it works. There's no doubt. No one has to worry about. We know it works. We're just going to be the ones that give it to the masses, and we have all of this great training. It's incredible. I would say my average customer is probably mid 50s to mid 60s. And my oldest customer is 89. And I've got, obviously people that bought a seat for their grandkid that was just born. But it is amazing to watch people who, hey, I barely can send a text, that are now out there, and they're on Dex Trade, and they're on Biconomy, and they're on Coinbase, and they're doing it. It's amazing.
Yep. And so the third party stories, the testimonials is always good to share with people. That helps, bring people on board. the way I always cover the it's too good to be true, because I always run into that at the end too, because I build
Yeah.
it up, I build it up, I
Yeah.
build it up, and then people are like, well, you know, it's so good to be true, right? And so I literally tell people that, we have a solid plan. We got the best guy in the world that we could have running this thing, right? We've got the best leadership in place. Somebody that knows what they're doing around this and's been doing it for a long time. But you got to have a little bit of gamble in you still, because nothing's ever guaranteed. And really, the only thing that's going to upset the apple cart is something that is, completely not just unaccounted for or unforeseen, but just like an act of Congress saying no crypto ever in the world, right?
Right.
Something completely out of left field that, or like Bobby always says the bus, right? The bus or the meteor raining down, right? It really is. It's got to be something that crazy, that drastic to really knock us off track, because we have a solid plan. There is a solid foundation to this. Like you said, we were already using something that already works, um, and we have the plan with the layer two stuff and the implementation. We've got the right guy for the job. I mean, that's what we always talk about is we have a stacked deck, right? We've got a stacked deck, and so it is too good to be true sometimes for some folks, but if they take a leap of faith, they start small, they grow into that 9 pack or what have you, it it's nice to be able to have that 30-day grace period, and
Yeah.
people should be sharing that 30-day grace period, where if you do buy one now, you have up to 30 days to still get the same deal. And that's kind of a big deal, because I've had a lot of people upgrade within that 30-day period. People that I knew would come on with 9 packs, and I said, just start with one, right? Just start with one now. Make sure it's real. Make sure it's legit. Do your homework, and then you can upgrade within that 30 days. And if you have a good follow-up program, right? It's not necessarily you got to be the best salesperson, the best follow-up programmer out there, but like if you just remember, right? Make a list and remember those people and reach back out to them after a few weeks, like those people will upgrade. And that upgrade is
Oh.
just as good for you as selling that 9 pack in the beginning, right? It goes in as, you get all the benefits from it, basically. So, as if they bought the 9 pack in the beginning, right? So that's basically a new sale, and you still get that credit for it. So it is worth it. It is worth following up with people and upgrading them for sure. Um, and so,
That is huge. I want to just, if I can, highlight
yeah,
on that. Letting your downline know, call me when you're going to get the email. If you can't figure out how to get on your dashboard, call me. When your cold storage wallet comes in the mail, call me. If you don't get it within 3 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever it may be, call me. That is huge.
yeah,
When not only is it huge for that person to know, hey, I've got confidence because I've got someone, if I get stuck, that's going to help me. You'd be surprised how many people those people will bring. And that's really how you get this big downline. And next thing you know, hey, you're 4, 5, 6, 7 people deep on the left, 4, 5, 6, 7 people deep on the right, and you don't even know the people that are being added anymore because the people that are under you, they're doing the same thing, and they're saying to their, hey, you need help, you call me, right? And though it is big, that is
it
something I
is.
think is probably the most underestimated thing. Is the sign-up's the easy part, but if you don't do the rest, guys, that's all you're going to have. It's never going to be bigger than that. Uh, be vigilant in making sure that that person is getting on their dashboard, knows how to get on their dashboard. When their cold storage wallet's coin, know how to download it on the app so they can see it on their phone. And then, of course, helping them when they're ready to monetize and making sure that they've gotten onto Coinbase or Kraken or whatever exchange they've chosen to get on. That will pay you back in spades. You'll be amazed at how helpful that is in growing the downline.
Yeah, that's one thing, I've done the same thing where, when I sign people up, I don't really go through all that stuff. I pretty much tell them the process. You're going to sign up now, you're going to get these emails, and then when you get your coin in the mail, always call me, always reach
Yeah,
out to me. And I do that for other people in my downline
yeah,
that sign people up that I have nothing to do with, right? That I don't even know. I still tell them to call me when they have stuff like that that I can help with. Um, so you're right. That right there, that's one thing that we've always talked about with my cousin Tim, that's trained me back in the hot tub stuff. Years and years ago. Whenever you help people and you don't have you don't have any type of game behind it, right? Or ulterior motive. If you're just out there helping people and bringing people up, years will always come back to you,
that's right.
right? The
Yep.
more people you're out there helping, the more and more you're going to win in this. And you want to build a big downline. Joe's absolutely right. You're helping everybody in your downline. Everybody's almost running their own business within a business, right? You're running your own organization within the organization. And so you all have to be your team leaders. Doesn't matter if you got one person on your right or if you got 100 people on your right and left or whatever, right? You need to be the leader over your entire downline underneath you. And then always try to, whenever you have an issue or something, go to the person that sponsored you, right? And work your way through that to get the answers you need. And then again, we always have all the resources that anybody that's already in this can always go to Telegram, and all that. That's one thing that's super unique, and it's really nice to have, everybody making the YouTube videos, everybody making, everybody doing a call. Like we have one of these calls somebody's doing every single night of the week, different times each night. There's always a Zoom call that somebody out there is doing. And it's typically in our leadership, right? Our Texas Rangers are running calls. There's a Ranger doing a Zoom call almost every single night of the week. And even mornings, right? There's all different times of the day that people can go out on Telegram and find this stuff to help get them to get their prospects or get their people to listen to some of the leadership in our organization. It's very, very easy. All you have to do is reach out, right? And so, one thing I want to go back, Joe, I want you to tell me about your operation. I know you're not the only one answering the phone.
Yeah.
And so I kind of want to know how you have it set up and how you train these people to handle everything.
So, really a good question. So, I have my I guess my real job. I have a radio station that we own up in Colorado. I have a gold and silver company, uh, and I just turned my 800 number into a gold, silver, and Texit number. All of my employees are in Texit. When we first went there, I told all of them, "Hey, I think this is going to be great. Uh, why don't you guys jump in and do this with us, and we'll learn together." And we're fortunate enough that the girls all of them are minors like me, and we really literally learned together.
Yeah, you
Uh,
all learn together then.
and it was something where they would get a question, they answer the phone up, I got, and what's the question, and they, come to me, Joe, they're asking, and whatever the question may be, and either I knew the answer or, hey, get their number and we'll call them back, right? And we'd go out and reach out to a ranger or go to Telegram or go to the help desk and get those answers. And early on, the Texas didn't have a lot of employees early on, so you were
Right.
sinking or swimming on your own a lot of the time. But there was resources out there. My wife just got back from training. We now through my downline, we can handle all the issues. Really, the big issues, someone, it's usually me because my typing sucks. I didn't get my welcome email. Well, probably because I entered it in wrong, right? So let's fix that. I want to upgrade. I want to add emails to my other pay centers, whatever. We can do that all in our office in Arizona. And it's something that really I got to give a lot of praise to Bobby and the leadership over at Texit. I mean, they were flying people in from all over the country and training people so that we could respond better to the needs of people. And literally this week, uh, I only think we had one thing happen that we actually had to reach out to Texit because it was beyond our knowledge at the time. Other than that, we didn't send a single email out of our office because we could handle all of that stuff ourselves. But it's something where I'll be honest, it's calls like this, getting on Zooms. If you can spend an hour a day, it will take you less than 30 days, and you will know more about cryptocurrencies than the guys that think they know everything about cryptocurrencies. You know,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've told everybody that if you are willing to put the time in, right, the more you put into Texas, the more you will get out of
yeah,
it. And I always used to say that in my meetings and in my presentations, because I would say it's not just monetary, right? It's the time, it's the effort, and the willingness to learn. Like just like you said, if you put an hour a day in, it will change your life. It will change your life understanding the whole crypto frontier, right? I mean, it's pretty amazing how many people that I've seen just that I brought into this, um, really spend the time to learn it and grasp it, and then they go out there and they build, right?
yeah,
They build their
yeah.
own organization and their
Yeah.
own downlines
You
because
know
they
what's cool
can't see
too
growth.
is guys that swore they would never build.
Absolutely. And
90 days, maybe 90 days, maybe 120 days later, they're on the phone or they're at the office and they've got their buddy ready to sign up. That then they were
yep,
never. I'm never doing that, which is great. You don't,
yep,
right? But you'd be surprised how many people. It doesn't take that many. You know, sometimes you just get lucky and you got that person. It clicks, they get it, and they're off and running. And next thing you know, you got something that, like Gaige said, life changing is here. The opportunity is here, and you don't get very many of these. And in this day and age, right, crypto's like the one thing that if you get lucky, right, but this isn't about luck. There's no luck involved here. The proof of concept, it's in the pudding. We know it works. Bobby says, listen, I'm committed. I'm going to do three things, and that's the other part of it. It's so simple, right? I'm going to build the mine, I'm going to pay the commissions, I'm going to promote the coin, right? That's all he's guaranteeing anybody that he's going to do, and that's what he's doing. But yeah, this is something where again, I will tell you guys, it's humbling. I don't even know how to react to it. How many people they're coming in and thanking me
yeah,
because it is that big of a deal. I have people that are on Social Security that within the first 30 days of signing up, they were making more money a day in Texit than their Social Security check. More money
yeah.
a day than they were getting in Social Security. And they're like, oh my God, you changed my life. Because, Social
Double
Security,
their income
right? Yeah.
essentially
That
or more.
it's yeah, Social Security doesn't cut it, right?
Yeah.
And it's there. The opportunity is there if you decide that you really want to sink your teeth into it.
Yep. I think I think you said it best too. Like the one advantage that you have over a lot of people is you're out there spreading the message and you don't have to think about who you're telling. I think a lot of people get a little worried about, oh, my, uncle, I don't think he likes crypto, so I'm not going to tell him about it. And that's just the wrong mindset. The one thing I tell everybody is literally you have to go out there and tell everybody because the people that you don't think are a builder will go out there once they have that aha moment and they'll go build. If you go try to find that perfect person that's going to be a builder that you put under your leg, almost always those people never build. I've seen it happen with me. I've seen it happen with other people. they're trying to find the perfect people, right? The people that really like crypto, or people they think that's going to really like, Texit Coin or whatever. And you can't have that type of mindset, right? You have to have the mindset of you got to tell anybody, everybody, and all people, right? All the time. You have to always be talking about it. My network marketing buddy literally told me that they used to have a thing within 3 feet, right? Everybody within 3 feet of you, you have to be talking about Texit Coin. You have to bring it up one way or another, because that's how you really find the perfect people,
Yeah.
right? They come on board. You start telling everybody, you get them on board, and then they take off and they start building, right? Once they figure this out, once they understand it, once they put a little time in learning about this, they take off and do it themselves. But I know a lot of people struggle getting started because they always try to think of that perfect person or those 3 people that they think will do it, right? And you really got to take that out of your mind, throw that to the side, and just start telling everybody. Because the bigger net you cast, the more fish you're going to catch. That is 100% fact, right?
It's
Not
so
most
true.
people don't have a radio show. You're definitely casting the biggest net of all. There's no doubt about it.
But you know what? I want to share, because with my family, you got my and my wife's, and you can't help but do. You're like, okay, well, I know he'll do it, and she'll probably do it. I don't think he will, or they, right?
Right.
Guys, you're going to be shocked, and I know I was. There was certain people I thought they're going to do it just because I said so. And this one, he doesn't have any money. They're not going to do it. You'll be shocked at who does and who doesn't. The biggest thing is, hey, listen, I think this thing's going to change my life. Here's what I'm doing. I don't care what you do, right? But I need to tell you about it, because I'll feel bad. Because I got this thing now with my friends that I always say, yeah, money's not going to change me. I'm like, oh no, it's totally going to change me. So
Yep.
if you guys still want to be friends later, you better get some crypto, because this is where it's going to be. And we kind of joke around about it, but I will say this: I dove headfirst into this. I dug into it. I read all this stuff online. I'll make it easy for you guys, in case you don't know where to find it. Texit Coin scam. That's all you need to do. Put that in your search bar. You'll find every hater in the world. Study it. Sometimes it'll make you worried. Heck, you start believing it for a little bit, right? But again, know what the answers are. Be prepared for it. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're passionate about it and you believe it, people just know it, right? And
They do. They can feel it. They can feel it.
don't ask me how, but yeah, if you're really not 100% committed, and right, they can feel that too. Be passionate and be proud about it, and say, hey, this is an opportunity. I think it's awesome. This is what I've done. Share your story. Pull up your phone and show them your dashboard, and I think just that alone, the excitement and the passion, people will listen. They may not
Absolutely.
do it, but they'll listen, and guess what? They'll remember. And then maybe you don't see that person for another couple 3 weeks. Hey, they're going to ask you, believe me, how's that crypto thing going? Oh man, let me tell you, right? And next thing you know, hey, you think I can get? Is there still time? Should I still get into it? And then boom, next thing you know, they're signing up.
Yep. So that's one thing like that that I had a lot of success with, or that kept me on that car list over the last couple months was, in the beginning, I was telling everybody. I was telling every single person that I would come in contact with, or I was calling out of the blue, texting, whatever it was. I was telling anybody and everybody I could in my contact list. And you're exactly right. If they don't get back with you, if they don't talk to you about it, if you don't see them for a while, it was surprising to me at how many people at least paid attention to the price every day, right? Would check the price daily, weekly, and they would keep up with it at some way, some form or fashion. And I've, once we started doing more of the billboards, and different things, I had tons of people that would reach back out to me that took, maybe a month or 2 months or 3 months later, they would reach back out to me and say, oh yeah, I seen this or that, how's that going? I think I want to get in now. I've been watching it. I've been watching the price. The price is going good. Now I'm ready to get in, right? So even if they don't commit when you first tell them about it, that's okay. A lot of people do. They pay attention to it, right? Now you've caught their attention. Um, but I also mentioned on one of these calls several weeks back that there's a website out there. It's called Deep Dive Texit Coin Likely Scam, right? And I bring that up, and I show a lot of people that because I can go through there and answer every 12 bullet points that is in that article, right? And I can cover every single one of those, and then just like you said, you can go to the dashboard, you can go over every single thing on that dashboard, and it makes sense to people. And not only are you telling them about it, but you can show them, right? That's one thing for people like me from Missouri. They call it the show me state for a reason. You got to literally tell them, show them, and then tell them what you just showed them. And then they'll do it, right? And so if you got to get that stuff down though, and doing a little bit of homework, spending a little bit of time in the evening before you go to bed on the websites, finding those objections, finding, that stuff, and then reaching out in Telegram to get those answers if you don't have them. That's the secret formula right there. That's going to give you that authenticity and that conviction, that being genuine when you're telling this to people. That's what people are going to see, and they're going to come on board eventually. Everybody comes around. Man, I couldn't tell you how many people would tell me hard no, over my dead body. I'm never doing anything with crypto. Crypto's a scam. Bitcoin's a scam. I didn't realize people were still out there today in 2025 believing Bitcoin was a scam until I started really telling a lot of people about this. And, they would come around 30 days, 60 days later, they'd be reaching back out to me. Hey, I think I want to get in this Texit coin now, so everybody out there, you just got to be able to talk about this every single day to somebody, right? And if you stay with that consistency, eventually they will come around. I think everybody will come around eventually. I haven't found anybody yet that won't. And I tell you, I've ran into some good friends of mine, some good people that I know extremely well that were like big business people that were like, absolutely not. Bitcoin's a scam,
Yep.
crypto's a scam, it's never gonna work, blah, blah, blah. And now they're miners, right? And so everybody comes around. I truly believe that eventually. You just got to stay on them, and that's another thing about this is the follow up. You know how most of the people like me are out there. They're telling people they know or talking with people, right, that they're running into in person. And if you have those people's information, you do got to follow up eventually, but you got to do it so you're not just that salesy, salesperson just trying to get people signed up. In the sales world, we have something called commission breath, right? If you're sitting there just trying to get them to sign up, hey, what do you think about this? Blah, blah, blah. I'm following up with you. You sound salesy. So you got to get away from that. How do you guys handle that with follow up? Do you guys do much follow up if somebody
We
calls?
don't uh, that we kind of put it out there for people. Obviously, with the radio show, I have the opportunity to talk about it, so I follow up with them through the show, right? So that it's a little different. But I look at it, so follow up for my family and friends. Okay,
Yeah.
I really am. Like I said, if you're passionate about it, whether they said yes or no, they are listening, and
Yeah.
they will. And if they truly care about it, they'll be excited for you just because you're excited. And then maybe it's so and so's birthday, or it's I don't know, the cousins want to have a night out, or the girls, all your girlfriends are going to have a night out, or what have you. You don't have, those are the opportunities you have to follow up. What's going on? And everyone's, I just had my daughter had a baby, and this one, blah blah blah, is getting married. When it's your turn, man, I know I told you guys about this crypto, but I'm knocking it out of the park. I'm getting paid every day, and you have that opportunity. And again, I'm with Gaige on this. You be shocked. You may have an interaction 3, 4, 5 times, and then all of a sudden you get a text, you'll get a phone call, you'll get an email out of the blue saying, "Hey, you know what? I think I want to get in on that Texit Coin thing," and just be consistent. Like Gaige said, I don't know, you don't need to necessarily pester your friends and your relatives. But there are certain people that's not why. There's certain people that expect you to follow up with them, and those that expect it, you got to do that for. But also at the same time, when it's your turn to say what's going on with you, that's when you talk about it. That's when you bring it up, and at least for me, it's one of the things I love talking about the most, because I've seen what it's been doing for my family and my friends. It's such a powerful thing, knowing that all of this, like I said, I can go start to finish. I can get coins tonight, sell them tonight, and have them in my bank account before I go to bed. And I can
Yeah.
do that every day of the week, 7 days a week, if I need be. Thankfully, I don't have to, and I'm just stockpiling coins right now. But that's all I'll say to all those people out there. Don't be ashamed to be passionate about this, and don't be afraid, because listen, a lot of you out there are seeing it for yourselves. It is changing your life, and sometimes it gets a little frustrating when you got somebody that listen, $995 isn't a big deal for them, or $9,000 isn't a big deal. I've got customers out there, 27,000, they don't even bat an eye, right? But
Yep.
it's up to you to bring the passion. I think that's the biggest thing. Be passionate and know what you're talking about, and do your research. And like Gaige said, it literally, I think in an hour a day, that isn't asking a whole lot to potentially change the course of your life and your family's life. And like I said, I've been busting my hump for 30 years. The last 25 years owning this gold and silver company. I've had the ups, I've had the downs, and I can tell you, opportunities like this do not come around very often.
Yep. That's exactly right. I explain it like computers back in the 80s and 90s, right? Believe it or not, I was born in 96. So I kind of remember I remember computers in the early 2000s, right? Back before like Facebook and internet was very big, right? You could basically Google some stuff and different things like that. But um, crypto's so new, it's back like, just like the 80s and 90s, most people said nobody's gonna have a computer at their house, right? These in-home computers, that's not going to be a good idea. And now every single person walks around today with a supercomputer in their pocket. It just takes time, right? And that's where we're at with crypto in general. We're at the beginning of it, right? So when do you want to get involved? Do you want to get in at the beginning, or would you rather wait until it's a lot safer, right? And give it 5, 10 years, and then would you want to do it then if you knew it was going to be like computers or technology back in the day, right? Everybody's answer is no. They'd rather get in at the beginning rather than the end, right? So I think a lot of people that helps out with, to kind of understand where we're at with crypto, because a lot of people's answers are, well, I don't see how anybody's going to use it, right?
Right.
I think a lot of people that don't do crypto or not familiar with crypto, that's heard of Bitcoin, they just don't understand the use case of it very well. Instead of talking about the actual use case and getting into the weeds, you can really keep it simple and just explain it like like anything else that was around 20 years ago, right? 25, 30 years ago. Over the course of time, technology, advances so much quicker than everything else, and crypto will too. It won't take, Bitcoin's already been around for 17 years. It's not going to take another 17, to go to go down the street and pay, with crypto for a cup of coffee. I mean, there's already so
Yeah.
many places taking crypto now.
Yeah, and they don't
We're
even know
getting
it
to
half
that
the
point.
time, you know?
Right. And now, another thing that people don't realize too is when you sell your Texit coin, you can sell your Texit coin if you have a Coinbase account and you put it in USDC, you now can go around with your Coinbase debit card and tap to pay
Yep.
almost with every merchant, right?
Yep.
Every merchant that takes dollars, US dollars. So believe it or not, that's acceptable now. Now you don't even have to go through with moving it back into your bank account.
Yep.
Literally all you have to do is have a Coinbase card. And
So
so
true.
then you can use and monetize that Texit coin and then go out to dinner and use it almost immediately, right? You could be at dinner eating your nice, 32-ounce porterhouse and literally do the transfer on your phone and sell those coins and move it back to your Coinbase before the bill even comes, and then use your card to pay for it. It's that fast, right? So it's pretty crazy. Well, Joe, the last question I really had that I want to know is any of your process duplicatable to the rest of our organization, right?
Right. And I think it is.
What
I
are
mean, the obviously, right. Hey, okay, yeah, I've got a radio show. Yeah, and I've been in business a long time.
right.
Those things are really helpful. I don't think I haven't reinvented the wheel. It's kind of like we talked about. Well, hey, we just cloned Litecoin for Texit Coin. Uh, the biggest advice I have to people: be passionate, and don't be afraid to tell the story and let people decide for themselves if they want to take a shot and they want to do a little. One of the things I always say. I mean, how many times have you seen the? Well, if you had bought Microsoft and put $1,000 in Microsoft when it first came out, or $1,000 in Apple, you would have $1 million, right? I mean, this is that type of a thing, and I think that's really, for me, my biggest advice to anybody is passion and knowing your research. And like I said, I think the best way to know your research is go and see what the haters are saying, find out the answers, and tell it in your story. And the longer you're in it, the better your story is, right? Because hey, I've been in it for 45 days, and look, I've made half of my investment back, and in the next 3 months, I'm gonna make it all back, and everything's gravy. And you guys know, if you just signing up a few people speeds up that timeline. Just
Tremendously.
massively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know people that have paid themselves back in the first month. They haven't been in a month, and they've already made more than what they put in. So I
Yep.
think that's my biggest thing, in being available and letting people know that do sign up. Hey, if you got a problem, call me.
Yep.
Call me when this happens. Call me when that happens. There's a few milestones like the email, getting them on the dashboard. Call me when you get your coin. Believe it or not, it's those little things that all of a sudden, maybe that person was just, okay, yeah, I threw 1,000 or 5,000 or 9,000 bucks at it, but that was all I was really going to do. But gosh, every time I talk to Gaige, he's so fired up. Now he's got me fired up. And you know what? My wife's like, what is this thing? And now I got her going. And now we're talking to our kids about it. I mean, these are things. It's not rocket science. It is totally replicatable. Be passionate, be available, have some markers out there where hey, I'm going to have another conversation with this person, because that's just another chance to be passionate and telling your story. I love the fact that the coin takes 3 or 4 weeks to get there right now, because it used to take like 3 days. Well, now
Yeah.
there's more story to tell because it took 3 weeks. Hey, look at, oh my, and it's pretty neat. They scan their coin in, and all of a sudden they're
Wow,
like,
look how much I got on there already in
right,
2 or 3
yeah,
weeks, right?
right. And man,
Yep.
that was pretty easy. Gosh, I can see it on my phone every day. I don't have to go to my dashboard. Yeah, those are things that, like I said, I think those are very replicatable. It's not like I'm doing anything any different than anybody else, other than my plan of attack like I said, I use the haters to my advantage, and then we make sure at certain milestones we're having at least probably 3 conversations with a person before, okay, I know they're on Coinbase and I know they how to get on the exchange to buy and sell. Maybe at that point, if you don't have another conversation, okay, but you got 3 opportunities to share that excitement and that passion, and it's crazy how much that does.
Yep. Yep. Do you have any issues with collecting people's money? Like, do people
Yeah,
shy away from you at all when you're like, well, I can help you sign up, I can collect your money, turn it to crypto, send it,
yeah,
or anything like
yeah,
that? That's a
yeah.
big deal.
No, for me, it's pretty easy. And like I said, I've been in business for a long time, so I have the ability to make payments easy than for others. So the biggest thing that I would tell people is, especially if you're in it for a while, and you can assist people getting those crypto accounts set up, because as you guys know, hey, gosh, the iron's hot right now, but I'm 7 or 10 days away from them being able to get that payment to me, right? That can lead to some issues. So it really is something where I think that's probably one of the bigger things. I'm fortunate in that regard that a lot of my customers, even though they're all over the country, I'm able to get them going while they're getting their payments, in order. And not everybody can do that, right? That's
Right.
one of those things.
That's one thing I wanted to hit on. What I've actually been trying out, what I've been doing is getting people set up with Coinbase, and then I send them the USDC, right, the 995, and I just take their Venmo or check or cash or
Yep,
whatever, right?
yep,
And
yep,
then when you do it that way, you don't have to wait for the 7 day hold period. When you're sending a USDC to them, they can just boom, boom, click right
yep,
through and pay through the
yep,
back of the
yep.
website. And so we're going to have to get a little bit more creative with signing people up and stuff with, the issues that we've been having. And so, Bobby mentioned, or threw it out there that you could send them Texit Coin too, and they could pay with
Yep.
Texit Coin by setting them up
And
on
I've
those.
actually done that a couple of
Yep.
times. So
Yep.
that
I
is
don't like
a
to get
good
rid of my
option.
coins though, so
I
I
don't
like
either,
doing
and I
USDC.
will tell you that that is something where when the price shot up, I wasn't really happy. I mean, I was happy when I was paying an invoice, but then I wasn't real happy when I got paid back, and then all of a sudden the price went down. I like it when it's a little calmer, right? But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I will
That's
say
why
this:
that's why
longer
with
term, guys, it's going to be great, and I agree with Gaige. I think that's the best thing is sending you, if you can do it, sending USDC to their Coinbase account and having them go through the back office. Uh, it does. There's a little more work involved, but man, they progress so much faster that way, and I don't know why that is,
yeah,
but they really do.
they do it themselves, they understand it, they see it, and then you don't that's how you get around the 7 day hold with them, right? And I just know a lot of people have issues with, they're going out there, they're telling their first 3 people, then they get to the point where it's like, oh, how do I sign them up, right? That's one of the best ways, because you're teaching them how to get to their address, send you their receiving address, sending them the USDC, and then they pay through that QR code through the back or through the website. It's just simple that way. And it's teaching them at the same time. So, um, but no, anything you want to add, Joe, you can. That's all I have for you tonight. We appreciate all the time that you spent with us, and all
Happy
the
to do
knowledge
it.
and wisdom that you shared. We appreciate it.
Happy to
We
do it,
appreciate it a lot.
and
So,
guys, just keep doing it, man. Be passionate. This is a really a fun project, and I know there's. Hey, it's easy to get frustrated, but keep working at it, and eventually, you get them in. Eventually, you get them in. So keep battling out there and Gaige. I know I won't see you in Austin, but one of these days we'll meet up.
Yep, one of these days, man. I'm looking forward to it.
All right,
You
brother.
can stay on
All
here
right,
if you
man.
want. I got some questions I got to answer. I
Go
got to
ahead.
go.
Go ahead. God bless, brother.
You bet. Have a good one. All right, guys. So Nick says, "Hi, all. Just what is the impact of the latest bank freeze on TXC?" Um, so far, I pay everything through crypto. I think everybody should start doing everything through crypto. And as long as we do that, this bank freeze is not going to have any impact on us whatsoever. Um, you know, Bobby's got other things he can pay the bills with. And so as long as we're getting our people signed up and our invoices paid and our money to him in the form of USDC or TXC, everything is going to be just fine. All right. Sean says, in the use of funds pie graph on the dashboard, how can I explain where the income portion of 36% is dispersed? Notice I gloss over this when sharing the dashboard. Um, Let me pull this up real quick so I can kind of make sure I see what you're looking at. 36% income. What does that say? Commissions at 37, income at 32. Um, I need to double check on that, but total we brought in $89 million, right? In commissions we paid out 37. Liquidity's 5.28 million, mines 5.24 million, overhead 4 million, promotion 5 million, income we would have brought in more than $32 million in income. So this must be what the excess is out of revenue and commissions and what that's totaled up to be, maybe something like that. Bobby did mention a few weeks ago on a call that he was getting this revamped to where there would be a little bit more information, a little bit more details on that pie graph chart. But income, I would explain that 32 million is excess in the budget right now until we get a better understanding on that, which I'll find out ASAP and I'll drop that in the Telegram. Jerry says, didn't Bobby remove the 30-day time and can upgrade at any time? So no. So let's say somebody joins in with a 1-pack right now tonight, right? They have 30 days that they can upgrade to the 9-pack and they get the 2 free seats, right? And they get the 2 tracking centers on the tree. What Bobby made standard now is if anybody wants to upgrade to a 9-pack, they get the 2 extra tracking centers on the placement tree, but you don't just get 2 free seats, right? So if you upgrade from a 1-pack to a 9-pack within your 30 days, you get just like what you would get when you sign up for that 9-pack. You get the 2 extra seats, so you get 11, and you get 2 extra tracking centers. You have 3 on the placement tree. So if somebody waits till after that 30 days and they want to upgrade from that 1 seat to that 9-pack, all you get is the extra 2 tracking centers on the tree. You do not get 2 free seats. You only get 1 because you're getting a 5+1 within that upgrade. You're upgrading 8 seats. So the deal is you get 5+1. You're going to end up with 10 total instead of 11. That's the difference between doing it in the first 30 days or after that first 30 days, Jerry. Enrico says, what are the current methods of payment now to make TXC account? Kraken, Coinbase, to USD, to Texit. Is there any other? I don't know if you're talking about onboarding or if you're talking about buying coins. Um, I think you're talking about onboarding. So yeah, the pretty much the only method of payment is crypto. And so you can use USDC, USDT. Um, you can always use any mainstream Bitcoin, Ethereum option, stuff like that. But if you're talking about buying coins, then most of the time you're using USDT and sending over to most of the exchanges. I think there's only one that actually trades with USDC. All right, next is Jerry. If the electric grid goes down across the entire planet for a period of time, How will that affect the daily earning capacity, and will there be a payback time frame for this once it comes back up? Second part is, will your coin commodity wallet be sustained at the same level holdings electric power went out? Okay, so Jerry, if the electric grid goes down across the entire planet for any period of time, there's going to be a lot of people worried about a lot more things than just crypto. And there's going to be a lot bigger problems out there. Again, because the whole banking system's down too. You wouldn't be able to use a credit card, a debit card, a Venmo, or any type of payment system, right? If the electric grid goes down. But with Texit Coin, if the power went down and the mine goes down, there is not going to be any payback for that time frame or anything, because we're not making any blocks, we're not mining any more coins, right? We're down that period of time. Once everything comes back up and it starts going again, everything's going to proceed like it was, but there's not going to be no extra coins added to anything because we didn't produce those blocks during those times we were down. I hope that answers your question. Sandra says, hi, asking from New Zealand. What are the steps to accepting TXC as a merchant? How do you deal with the accounting side of things? We use Zero for our beef farming business and thinking of accepting TXC crypto so that here in New Zealand we can start support our TexitCoin community. Hopefully, Sarah, I could order some of that farmers beef. I would love to be able to do that. TXC for it. But if you download the TXC wallet app, right? The TXC wallet app is how I do it. You guys really can't see that very well on my phone. Sorry about that. But if you download the TXC wallet app, create a hot wallet. Anybody that has TexitCoin wants to pay you for stuff, you take it right through that. That's what I did with the hot tub that I sold the other night. And as far as the accounting things, I'm not sure. I really don't know how you're going to be able to handle that. But again, if you just monetize it, turn it to cash immediately, I would think you would be able to account for it just like you would any other type of payment. If you're monetizing that and turning it to cash and putting it in your bank account. But honestly, I don't know. If you're just going to sit on the coins, accept them and then sit on the coins and everything like that, then I really don't know how you would do that. You would have to get with your accountant on that. And kind of explain it to them like you were taking payment in Bitcoin or a Litecoin, right? Or anything else, crypto of that matter. It'd be just like that. And so maybe they can help you with that. Anonymous attendee, in the recent price history, unfortunately, is not a selling point. No, probably not. But what is positive in all of that selling, if you look at that daily volume, one, we're at our market now, we're doing over $500,000 a day. Almost every single day now we're trading $500,000 a day, and our price is not tanking from what everybody contrary to popular belief, our price is not tanking. Our price is still above $4, and it's ahead of what we expect it to be at this point. And that's the message that you have to portray, right? Yeah, it shot up. It shot all the way up to $7. That was very unexpected too. Nobody wanted that to happen. Nobody foreseen that ever happening, but it did happen. And when the price come back down, we're leveling out at about 450. And we're trading more dollars now than we ever have before. And our price isn't tanking. It's actually holding up exceptionally well, compared to where our orders are at for liquidity and our $3.79 price floors, right? So as much as it's went down from the $7 high, that $7 high was never expected. And so the one thing I'll tell you, anonymous attendee, is you always have to turn things around on a positive when you're telling people. If you just look at a very short time span of the last couple of weeks and how we went from $7 down to $4, well, you really need to open up that view and look at what we've done over the last 6 months or the last 3 months, right? We went up tremendously, and on our price chart, it looks still extremely healthy, right? The last thing that we would want is for our price to actually fall down below 3 or 250. That would be cause for concern. That would be considered more of a crash in my book. At $7, we haven't even done a 50% pullback, but 50% is kind of where my floor is. That'd be at 350. And so, I would tell you everything is going according to plan. And, There's no cause for concern. Val, what is the Telegram channel for TexitCoin? If you look back in your welcome emails, you should find the TexitCoin, the Telegram link in your welcome email. If not, try to reach out to the person that sponsored you and see if they can get you on it if you don't have that anymore. Sean says, I had 600 views with that video. Is TexitCoin a scam? Deep dive into Googling AI response. Archived it because no one was signing up under me or downline because of it. Just reposted today in a YouTube channel I created yesterday. 6 views already. Sean. Sean, I love that. I love that website. I love that article. I use it a lot. It's brought on a lot of people for me, so I really appreciate it. Thanks. Anonymous attendee, based on what I've read, Kraken, Coinbase have a history of freezing accounts. I have read a lot about MetaMask. Reason why we would not use MetaMask. Yes. Coinbase and Kraken is what we consider on-ramps and off-ramps. MetaMask is a wallet platform that you can't link your bank account to turn fiat dollars into USDC or USDT. So we still have to go through an on-ramp and off-ramp. Now, there are more options than just Kraken and Coinbase. But once you have your money into USDC or USDT, then yeah, you can use MetaMask and you know, you don't have to really use your Kraken and Coinbase for paying, you know, payments or signing people up, stuff like that. You can do it with MetaMask once you have your money in USDC or USDT. One of our Texit Rangers, Mike Healy, actually brought up another platform called Spritz. Spritz is an option that allows you to do an ACH or a wire transfer, you know, to actually buy USDC or USDT. And so you could have a MetaMask wallet. You could post that. You could open a Spritz account, post your MetaMask into Spritz, wire the money, and then have that showed up in your MetaMask, and then you would bypass Kraken and Coinbase altogether. So that is an option. You know, I don't know anything about those. I'm not saying that's the thing to do. I'm just saying we've we've had Texit Rangers that have you know, brought other things to the table, so it's worth looking into. With Mike saying that Spritz is a good one, you know, I trust him. So do your own research. Charity says, I know I pay for newbies with TXC. You do get a little discount, and it really works out okay. It depends on the person. If it's overwhelming for some, I do pay for it and have them give me the US dollar. Then I begin training at their pace. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. You know, take their money, send them the USDC, send them the TXC, whatever it is, to their hot wallet. So then that way they can pay right through the website if you know, if they're concerned about handing you over all their information or money at that point. There's always a workaround. You just have to be a little bit creative sometimes to figure out how to do that. And so great job, Charity. Looking forward to meeting you next week. Matthew says, Gaige, would you give us a step-by-step process on how you explained helping get people in by you sending your new person USDC and then patting you back using the QR code on the website? Lost me there. Okay. So Matthew, with what I do, I try to sign people up myself and pay right through my own back office. But if you have that person that's a little skeptical or doesn't want to send you the money or write you a check, then you just go through the process of sending them USDC. So you get them set up on a platform, whether it's Coinbase or Kraken, whatever it is, and you explain to them you're going to teach them how to use crypto. And so they, you know, you get them set up with the Coinbase. You have them send you their USDC wallet address, so that way you can send the money, and then, you know, you collect their payment however you want, whether that's a check, Venmo, or what have you. And sometimes, like, I like to do that in person, so I'm standing there with them and I send them the money immediately, and then I'm able to you know, show them how the money's coming over. The money's right there on their account, you know, as soon as I send the USDC, and then they can Venmo me the money or write me a check or something like that. If you do it through a Zoom, a FaceTime, you know, most of the time you're going to know these people or they're a friend of a friend or something like that. You know, it's really not too big of a concern for me whether I'm going to get my money from them or not. I've never had any issues with it. But then you're sending them the USDC right then. They're putting their info in, they're signing up, they're paying through the QR code. You just have to walk them through the process. And so, it's a very good thing to use. It's a very good tool to do it that way, just because you're now showing them how to use crypto and you're educating them along the way. And a lot of people feel a lot more comfortable about it when you show them that. And then once they get everything in the mail, right, their cold storage wallets, you have them contact you. You walk them through how to get it on their phone, how to get into their dashboard, how to start viewing their coins every day and everything like that. And people have a very good response to it. That's what me and Joe were talking about. That's where you educate these people, and then they go out there and they build for you, right? They build their own downlines. And then when that happens, everybody wins, right? Um, Jerry, thank you so much. Norm says Bobby made it clear that the income pie on the chart is his money, what is left over when everything is paid. Yes, he said that, but then he also made a correction on that point. He said back then it was like $22 million, and he had mentioned that all 22 million was not his, that he was actually using that for, some of the stuff, marketing, promotion, this or that, developers, whatever it was. It's not, Bobby's not cashing out 32 million, you know, of that income portion of that pie. I will say that he is using that money, and in that call went back when it was 22 million, he did explain that, that's when he was hired the website person. They were going to be revamping that, trying to make that better, with a better breakdown and actual links that you could click on, and then you could go see what everything was being paid for, the transactions and everything. So yeah, he did say that income was part of his, but it needed to be fixed because it's not all of his. Um, so yeah, just be patient. Again, he's still working on trying to get somebody to get that website fixed. So that'll be coming. Jerry says, thank you. We had a couple of people ask a question over the weekend. No problem, Jerry. Calla says, can they use solar panels to keep the mine going? Yes. Someday we'll start looking into that. The first thing we got to do is get this mine built. Then once we are ahead of the game and not behind the eight ball, then we can start looking at using alternative energy. We have a lot of different things that we will be looking at in the future for that. So not just solar, but there's other things like trapped natural gas, hydropower. There's a lot of different things that we'll be looking at in the future. And we have a lot of oil and gas people in our organization that are able to help out with a lot of that other stuff. So I'm sure we'll see stuff like that in the future. E says, what article was that again? If you're talking about the one that I like, it's I just Google Texit Coin likely scam. It's usually the first one that pops up. It literally, the first part that you see is a 12 bullet point deal on why Texit Coin is a scam. And I like to go over that with people and explain why have an answer to all 12 of those. If you can do that and, actually cover those 12 bullet points on why Texit's not a scam, then you're going to be very confident in handling these people, or handling anything that's going to be thrown at you, because that article is great. It really goes over everything. So if you're good at handling those 12 objections right there, that's really all you're ever going to run into. It really goes over the rug pull, the Ponzi scheme, the pyramid scheme, the transparency stuff. Like, one of the first things is, they sell all this hash power, but yet the the mine doesn't ever, how do we know the mine's going to be built or whatever, right? And so you can actually show them right off the dashboard, our mine working in real time, and the growth that we've had and how much hash power we've sold and how much operating hash power we're at right now. And if anybody's seen, I think just a few days ago, we had a little uptick, in our mining output. And so, we're getting there. Things are turning, things are coming around. We're going to be having more mine locations up and running soon. We just got to be a little bit more patient. And when that happens, whenever we start turning on these BC40s, I think you guys are going to realize a lot of people are going to get excited about this. A lot of people are going to be talking about this. We're going to have a lot of hype around these VC40s getting turned on. And I think you're going to see a lot of people coming into this project very, very quickly once they start seeing that. And we're not too far away. It's going to happen very soon. So thank you, E. Jerry says Trust Wallet is amazing. There you go. So that's another one other than MetaMask. All right, guys, that's all of our questions. I hope you enjoyed tonight. We'll see you back here next Monday night at 6 p.m. Texas time. Let's have a great week. You guys have always been killing it out there. Let's go try anybody new on the call. If you have any questions, if you need more help, if you have people that are super close and you want somebody like me to jump on that, reach out in Telegram. Telegram is the best place to contact me. If you can't get on Telegram, ask your sponsor how to get on Telegram. They should be able to help you. If not, have their sponsor help, right? Either way, go through that upline, and everybody's here to help everybody, because when everybody's if anybody's sorry, when everybody's helping everybody, we all win, right? We all win. So have a good night. Let's have a great week.